Hey guys, it's me, Barfy. Welcome back to another video. As of the day I'm recording this, June 23rd, it is officially the birthday of Mr. the Hedgehog, Sonic. So, to celebrate the birth of my favorite franchise in all of fiction, I decided to rank every stage in Sonic Adventure 2. I'm doing that right now on a tier list format. I have them all sorted by order in game. So we have the hero stages, then the dark stages, then Cannon's Core, and then Green Hill. Basically, if you're new to the channel, hi, my name is Barfy. I really like Sonic, like a lot. And this video will probably not go up on June 23rd, but again, the day I'm recording is June 23rd. So let's get started with City Escape. Now, this is arguably the Green Hill Zone of 3D Sonic levels. When I think of 3D Sonic, this is the level I think of. And even though it's not my favorite Sonic stage in this game, let alone my favorite stage in the game overall, it definitely is it's top. I think I'm deciding whether I like it more than a certain other Sonic stage, but it is definitely my top 5 favorite stages. Next up is Wild Canyon. Now, this is personally my favorite Knuckles stage. Yeah, I know, I like it more than Pumpkin Hill. Pumpkin Hill is just way too big. I have the opposite feeling about Wild Canyon. It's that it's too small, but it's just like a lot of fun to go exploring, and it feels like, oh wait, whoops, no, this is Egg Quarters. Whoopsies. I can't do anything right. So anyways, yeah, Wild Canyon, of too small of a space, but it's just a lot of fun. It's just pretty quick. I'll put it, maybe low A tier, actually. Prison Lane, this is one of my favorite Tails stages, and the thing about Tails that makes me not a big fan of his stages are the platforming. Because while Eggman stages typically tend to focus more on shooting, Tails stages features like a lot of platforming, which sucks ass, because the mech controls are very janky. But thankfully, Prison Lane has like the least amount of parkour out of all of them, and it's just like a fun romp throughout. I'll put it above Wild Canyon on an A tier. Metal Harbor. This was the stage I was trying to determine whether I liked it more than City Escape. It is a really close call. I just think if it was maybe like a little bit longer, it would beat it out for me, but I'm gonna still say it's S tier. Now next up, Green Forest, another Sonic stage. Now Green Forest, I know it's a little early to say this, but I know for a fact that Green Forest is not only my favorite Sonic stage, but my favorite stage in Sonic Adventure 2. Hell, it's even my favorite, it's like my favorite 3D Sonic stage of all time. It's just the atmosphere and the vibe to it. There's so many fun gimmicks in it, and like the platforming is fun, and the big timer counting down makes it so much more intense. Not to mention that the song that plays for Green Forest is like one of my favorite Sonic songs of all time. That's why I use it as background music on a lot of my videos. I just love everything about Green Forest, and whenever I just want to play like a specific stage from Sonic Adventure 2 for like a couple minutes, this is the one that I typically go to. Next up is Pumpkin Hill. Now this is the fan favorite Knuckles stage, and honestly, I see why people like it, but it's just way too big and linear. It's still good, but I'm putting it in B tier. Mission Street. Now, I know this is a take that's going to piss some people off, but Mission Street is one of my least favorite Tails stages because a lot of the enemy placement is bullshit, and I have the same thoughts with Mission Street as I do with a certain other Tails stage, which I think you guys could probably guess. But yeah, Mission Street, annoying platforming. I mean, sometimes it's fine. Sometimes it's also really bad. And the enemy placement is really, it can be like really unfair a lot of the time whenever I play. I'll say it's C tier. Aquatic Mine. Now, again, this is going to be another opinion that's going to get people wanting my head on a spike, but I honestly prefer Aquatic Mind to Pumpkin Hill. I just love the mellow atmosphere, though the constant raindrop sound effects can get kind of annoying at times. I love the gimmick of having to change the water level, and this stage having the air necklace is like the sole reason why I have not broken any controllers over Canon's Core. So for that, I'll put it high B tier. Next, Route 101. And while a lot of people don't like this stage, I think it's pretty good because, the controls were really ass like the first time I played it, but I honestly got the hang of it, and I kind of like the kart racing in Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. Not as much as like Mario Kart, obviously, but it's just something fun to do every once in a blue moon. I'll put it at the bottom with B tier. It's still good. Hidden Base. Now, this is the other stage I was talking about from Mission Street. Take everything I don't like about Mission Street and make it even worse. This stage, genuinely, the quicksand is miserable. The enemy placement is miserable. The gimmicks of shooting through walls and stuff is fun, like having to shoot the TNT to explode stuff. That's cool. That's like the only thing about Hidden Base that I like besides the music. D tier. Next is Pyramid Cave. This is my least favorite Sonic stage. It's fun, but it's just, I'm not a big fan of like the pyramid stages in general, all the stages around that area for Hero and Dark. It's just like the most tedious one with the constant flipping of switches and having to run quickly. I'll put it between Pumpkin Hill and Route 101. Next is Death Chamber, my least favorite Knuckles stage. This one and Egg Quarters, the Rouge stage. It's just such a big, linear, tedious map. It's just like a giant base you have to search through. And again, since you can't look for multiple emeralds at once, unlike an SA1, it makes Death Chamber not a very good experience. Eternal Engine. Now, compared to Hidden Base, which is my least favorite Tails stage, Eternal Engine is one of my favorites. I know I've seen in the community a lot of discourse over this stage. I've seen a lot of people talk trash about it, but I just loved everything about this stage. The enemy placement, it's challenging, but it actually has a reason to be, since it's it's literally the final Tails stage. Of course, it's going to be challenging. Unlike Mission Street, which is only the second one. So for Eternal Engine, I'm gonna put it bottom of A tier. Pretty good. Meteor Herd. Now, compared to the other treasure hunting space stage, whose name we shall not mention, Meteor Herd. I have some fun with this one. It's better than Route 101, but not as good as Pyramid Cave. Again, this is a problem I have with a lot of Knuckles stages in SA2. They're just way too big and linear. That's the only stage that I didn't really have a problem with. That was Wild Canyon and Aquatic Mine. Well, Wild Canyon was just really small. Meteor Herd, I'm gonna say B tier between Pyramid Cave and Route 101. Next, Crazy Gadget. This is a lot of people's least favorite Sonic stage, but I liked the gimmicks it brought. The only thing I don't really like about it is the enemy placement. Again, I get it's like the second semi-final Sonic level, but Jesus Christ, those artificial chaos enemies have made me want to kill myself so many times. I'll put it between Wild Canyon and Eternal Engine. Final Rush, the final Sonic stage. This stage is just a blast to go through. It's full speed every time. There's not a single second in Final Rush where my heart is not pounding. So for that, I gotta put it at A tier. So before we move on to Canon's Core and Green Hill, we have to move on to the Dark stages first. Now, I think the Dark story is a lot worse than the Hero story, but there still are some good levels. Now, Iron Gate, this is the first Eggman level, and it's like around the same as Prison Lane, but I think I like Iron Gate just a little bit more. Now, Dry Lagoon, even though typically Rouge stages are ass, this one's actually quite a bit of fun. I also love the song, dude. Rouge's music for SA2 is great. This is one of my favorite. This might isn't my favorite treasure hunting stage. I don't know if I'd put it above Wild Canyon, but I'll put it between Crazy Gadget and Eternal Engine. Next, Sand Ocean. It's just a slightly better version of Hidden Base. Radical Highway. Finally, we have another S tier. This stage is again such a blast to go through. I might. Would I put it above Metal Harbor? I'm gonna say they're about equal. Metal Harbor and Radical Highway. Radical Highway is just a blast to go through. There's not a single part of it where you have to go slow. It's just a mad dash to the end, and that's why I love it. Egg Quarters. This is just Death Chamber, but slightly worse. Lost Colony. This stage is a ton of fun. I love like the gimmick of the lights turning off when you don't shoot enough enemies. This is what I prefer about Eggman stages to Tail stages. The gimmicks actually are fun to try out. I'll put it between Pumpkin Hill and Pyramid Cave. Weapons Bed. This is the stage where in all of Sonic Adventure 2 where you can rack up the most points. I love trying to go for the biggest combo possible. So for that, I will put it at the bottom of A tier. Next, Security Hall. And again, I know what I said about Rouge stages being typically mid, but this one is also a lot of fun. Well, I don't like it as much as Dry Lagoon. It's similar to the vein of Green Forest, where the big timer ticking down definitely makes it a lot more intense, and it's a lot more fun to have to search for it. Would be a lot better if the treasure hunting works like it did in SA1, but it doesn't, so oh well. I'll put it at the bottom of A. White Jungle. This is Green Forest, but not as fun for me. The atmosphere isn't really there. The timer doesn't really, since the timer is longer and the soundtrack isn't as kick-ass for this stage, it doesn't make me feel as intense, and some of the platform bits can be kind of annoying, but it's still pretty fun. I'll put it between Pumpkin Hill and Aquatic Mine. Route 280, it's just a worse version of Route 101, top of C tier. Sky Rail. Now, when I first played Sonic Adventure 2, I hated the stage, but I've grown to love it. You know, rail grinding in Sonic Adventure 2, this is rail grinding in SA2 at its finest. Like, Final Rush and Final Chase wishes it could have as good rail grinding as this. I also love the gimmicks where you have to keep hitting those spring things to bump higher. I'll put it between Wild Canyon and Crazy Gadget. Next is that stage. The stage that shall not be named. This is not only one of the worst Sonic level. This is not only the worst 3D Sonic level of all time. This is one of the worst levels in gaming history. As much as I love Sonic Adventure 2, as much as it's one of my favorite games of all time, whenever I get to Mad Space, I get really mad. This stage is unbearable, and whenever I'm through with it, I breathe the biggest sigh of relief possible. Now, since we just went through one of the worst stages, let's go for one of the best. Cosmic Wall. This is how I think a mech stage should be. This is everything I liked about Eggman stages mixed with everything I liked about Tails stages. And it's just as fun, if not more fun, than the Gamma stages in Sonic Adventure 1. I love the zero gravity bits, and I love how you have to do all these floaty jumps over a platforming. This is how Tails platforming should be. Bottom of the S tier. And now we have the final Dark Story stage. Final Chase. Now, the main gimmick for this stage can be kind of annoying sometimes, but overall, it's fairly similar to Final Rush. I'll put it at the bottom of... Actually, I'll put it at the top of B. So next we have the last stage in the main game, Cannon's Core. And it's a big relay race to the end. So, Tails' part is a lot of fun. Eggman's part can be a little annoying with the main gimmick for it, but for the most part, it's a bit of fun. Quite a bit of fun. Rouge's part is actually pretty enjoyable. I can't believe I'm saying this. Knuckles' part, if you have the air necklace, it it can be a little tedious, but it's fun. And if you don't have the air necklace, you're going to want to kill yourself. So you should probably go back to Aquatic Mine and get it. And Sonic's part is just like a really fun water slide. So for Cannon's Core, I'll put it between Eternal Engine and Weapons Bed. And for the last stage in Sonic Adventure 2 that we have to rank, it's Green Hill. Green Hill is the reward you get for completing, 100%ing the game by collecting all 180 emblems. And I'm going to be honest, it's a perfect reward for getting this. You see, Sonic Adventure 2 was released back in 2001. This was way before Green Hill got overused. So, and since this game was made to celebrate the 10-year anniversary of Sonic, and as one last hurrah for Sega and Sonic Team before the Dreamcast would fail and they would turn into a third-party publisher. As a reward for 100%ing their one last hurrah, Green Hill is an amazing reward. Even though the stage is pretty typical, nothing special, nothing great, just the fact that it paid homage for how it all began has to put it in A tier. Goes between Final Rush and Wild Canyon. So yeah, that was my ranking of Sonic Adventure 2 stages. Now that I'm not in Smack anymore, I can actually finally start uploading actual quality content. So, like, subscribe, do all that stuff, and a new video should be out soon.